Welcome back. Still sharing insights with the doctor and politician on the fight against coronavirus as Uganda also becomes a victim, the 50th country in Africa to record a case. One case was reported over the weekend, during the course of the weekend. What should we do and how best can we avert the current crisis? Kano, you still continue.
Yes, I was just talking about the preparedness of the person, to be able to have a fighting chance as a person. And I was simply saying, you should have rest, you should, sleep, and sleep also in a good cycle, that it's not irregular sleep, that you should have exercise. Exercise is very important, that the smokers should be helped to get off their smoke, because smokers can't easily get off smoke, but smoke greatly undermines immunity. Alcohol, especially if you are indulging seriously into alcohol, it seriously undermines immunity. One of the things that is least known and focused on in terms of immunity is sugar. Sugar seriously reduces the ability of cells to fight pathogens, to fight disease. And so please reduce sugar intake. If you like sweet tea, you can continue putting some sugar in your tea, but be careful.
Honey would be an alternative.
Sugar is not only
sucrose
from the sugar cane, it is also in honey, it is in fruits, the easily breakable sugar, sucrose, glucose, fructose, these are easily breakable sugars. So reduce, of course the fruits are important, as I pointed out, nutrition and especially vitamins. Vitamin C, which is happens to be in fruits, and I talked about lemon. Lemons even treat cancer, by the way. Lemon with hot water produces agents that are effective also against cancer cells. So vitamin C, vitamin A, vitamin E, vitamin B, and I have given elsewhere areas, sources of foods where you can get these. This is important information that all our people should look for and strive. It's not easy to have sometimes those foods, but if you can have the right foods that give you the chance to fight. So that is, I was talking on the second front
of the individual.
Yes. So the first front was spread. The second front is the individual preparedness to fight. The third front is the ability of the institutions and systems to recover health of those who become sick. So that's the health care mainly. Yes. How prepared it is to deal with these things. And so again, like before the war happens, you must prepare. You must prepare bunkers. Yes, you don't build bunkers when the bombs are landing. You must build the bunkers before the bombing starts, so that in case you are bombed, you just run into the bunker. And dakis, these trenches and all kinds of defenses that will help you to survive the war must be prepared in advance. And this is the area where I think we are weakest. And, it's an area, Ugandans are very funny. I've been hearing people say, don't politicize COVID. Wait a moment. Disease is political. Absolutely political. I've told you, what advises who gets the disease is a political question. Who eats, who doesn't eat.
It's political.
It's a political question. Who gets treatment, who doesn't.
Yeah, but not political in the Ugandan sense.
Yeah, not. You see, again, people just don't understand what politics is all about. That is the politics. Who gets medicine, who doesn't. Who goes to the hospital, who doesn't. Who survives, who doesn't. Is the politics. So the healthcare system and what we invest in it must be done before the war. Uganda has been under-investing in health, severely under-investing in health for decades. The minimum, or what was considered
bare minimum.
Optimum maybe, not minimum, optimum level of investment in health has been determined. And we are required to spend at least 15% of our budgets on health every year. Here we are spending 3%, 4% for many years. I think now, very recently, we have moved to maybe about 6-7%. We are not even 10%. We are required to spend at least 15% of our budgets to invest in preparation for what I have said, in building the bunkers. You will not, even if you wanted to, you can't build them during the war. And that is not...
So you want to say it's too late now?
No, it's not too late. I mean, we'll have to... But we must understand that...
It's a wake-up call.
It's too late even to wake up. If we got the kind of problem that we are see happening elsewhere, we would be finished. But, happily, there is one God up there for everybody. We survive by the grace of God. Not because we have done what we should do. And so I'm saying a healthcare system is not about building hospitals, just putting up hospitals. This morning as I was coming here, I was seeing there is now a focus on Mulago. I think they are about to open Mulago, which has been closed for a decade. It seems they are about to open it and they have put some modern equipment there. Yes, you may have modern equipment in this Mulago. It's not a health care system. You may create some buildings around.
That's an effort.
Yes,
isn't it?
It's an effort, but what you need is not an effort. You need a system that works. You just don't need an effort. You can have a lot of effort that is ineffective. So what we need, and as I said, it starts with investment. You must invest to the right level. Mulago is useless unless the person in the village has an effective system around that person.
Because Mulago is a referral.
It's the national referral. It's a specialist area. So we need a system, and I've been sometimes talking about a system that focuses, a healthcare system focuses on a person, every citizen, from birth till death, a healthcare system. If you are still in your mother's womb, a healthcare system records you. Say there is a pregnancy here which is 20 weeks. And the healthcare system monitors that pregnancy until it is born and you have a name. And all the records pertaining to your pregnancy are on your file. And that file you maintain until you die, and there is a death certificate, which shows what has happened to you in life. That is a system that monitors that. when you were immunized, when you got an accident, what type of accident, where you lived, what sort of challenges you had. This is a system that monitors you, that requires you to get examined, not because you are sick, but to make sure you don't become sick. Here, there is no healthcare system. None of the people out there listening to me has a file on which there is information about him or her for the last 30 years or for however old you are. But at least let's consider what they say has been a period of peace and stability. 30 years. Do you have a file that talks about you, even in the last 1 year, which requires you, which warns you that you are now 45 years? You must check the following. You know, if you become this age, you must check the following.
Where does it exist in Africa?
I'm telling you what needs to be built. That's why we are an endangered species in Africa. The question is whether we want to maintain this mediocrity, in fact, stupidity, or whether we want to get out of it. We are an endangered species. If we don't get our act together, this continent will be occupied by other people, and they are already arriving. Take over our land, to take over, because we don't deserve it. So the thing is, we have on the area of preparation. It's not just buildings, it is staff, medical staff that has been properly trained in adequate numbers, given the strong values, highly motivated, paid, must be highly paid. We have doctors now earning nothing. You know, absolutely nothing. You have a member of parliament who has finished senior 6, taking home 30 million shillings. You have a doctor who needs a minimum of 6 years of university preparation, paid 1 million shillings. Does it make sense? So, it's not about, it's the system.
Can we look at this as an opportunity to rethink health?
It's the facilities. You know, why don't we have facilities? Not just in one unit, but facilities going all the way down. We are now talking about a crisis. I have been talking to doctors in the upcountry hospitals. They don't have masks. Up to now, no masks in the hospitals. No gloves. There are no gloves in the hospitals. Believe you me.
I hope this is not a falsehood.
It's true. You can interrogate it. That's what the media is here for. Interrogate what is happening in the medical units in Uganda. Whether they have gloves, whether they have masks, whether they have protective wear, gowns, whether they have boots, even here in Mulago.
I thought these are basics.
Of course they are. So this is why I'm telling you that this is where we fall far short. We can continue slumbering and say, no, we don't want to talk about politics. We can continue. And we will all be wiped out. Whether you are
but this wouldn't be political.
Absolutely. You see, it is political. No, it is political. They make no mistake. This is politics. Politics is about how to use resources in the country. What priorities we take. That's politics. Politics is not about yellow and blue and whatever. Politics is about policies.
The Ministry of Health has severally come out to tell the nation that they are on top of the game, and in the event, they are prepared.
I have told you that I have huge respect for our experts in the Ministry of Health, including Dr. Cheng, who is heading the Ministry of Health now. I have huge respect. But forgive me, they have no system that they are superintending over. They are doing their utmost. They are doing their best in the worst circumstances they find themselves in. That is the reality of the matter. You know?
Yes.
So, so you are talking about patients in the districts. If we get patients there, they will have to go into isolation. If they go into isolation, have we prepared the centers for isolation? We don't have them. I have been, again, talking to the people in the country. We have not prepared them.
We have
in any case, even people...
We have about 3 or 4.
I've told you that even people to isolate them are not prepared. They don't even have the masks to work in the isolation and the gowns and so on to work in the isolation areas. They don't have. If you isolate patients there, do you have money to feed them? Because you cannot, again, depend on relatives bringing food to the isolated.
We've been told of a special supplementary budget to take us through the crisis, to take the country through the crisis.
That is what we all need to focus our hands, our eyes and minds on. Money must be made available. Of course, without systems, even when money is made available, it will fall through the cracks. That is the disaster. Because we have not built systems. In fact, as soon as money comes out, it's just lost.
It evaporates.
Yes, but this is a wonderful wake-up call. I hope Ugandans will get out of there. And the worst Ugandans whom I have issue with are the educated, the elites. They are the most useless people we have in this country.
Sorry?
Yes, absolutely. I have no apologies. Because you see, I think even God will forgive those who did not get the message about God or Christ or Muhammad or, those who are ignorant. God will forgive. They didn't get the message. But if you get the message that there is salvation, that there is this, and in spite of that you do everything to negate it, then you are, the most dangerous. You must go to the hottest part of hell. And, the people, I think, whom hell should be reserved for in our country
are the elites.
Are the elites. I'm telling you, they need to go to the hottest part of hell. Because they have the duty, yes, they have the responsibility to inform those who are not informed, to guide them properly, to make the choices they need to make. As I have told you, these are political decisions. It is the elites,
They fear burning their fingers in politics.
Yeah, yes, which is why they should go to hell, because they know the truth. They don't stand up for the truth. They are the ones in the parliament selling themselves like Kabalagala, causing the country a lot of pain, Because you see, at the end of the day, yes, I have issues with those who are stealing our money and doing all these kinds of things. But we get the leaders we deserve, for heaven's sake. We must, and we should not, it's up to us. If that's what we want, we will reap from it, You cannot just cry that, Museveni is a bad leader. You are the one responsible for his being there, If Best is a bad person, get rid of him.
These are your voters, Kanobesiji.
Yes, and I'm saying that, quite understandably, many of our people may not know the things I'm talking about. What a healthcare system looks like, how it functions. They may not know. But the fellows in Makerere know. The fellows who are in parliament should know. The fellows who are causing all this problem.
They have chosen to remain silent.
Not only to remain silent, but actually to support and give succor to the problem that we have. Religious leaders. You see all of them not focusing on people. Religious leaders are supposed to be voice of the voiceless. I saw the other day praying. Thanks, I had Pastor Kayanja concerned about livelihoods of people. I think he's the only one I had who brought out something to talk about livelihoods of people. You know, we must focus where it is important. It's not enough to just say we have all these. We are the ones who will get ourselves out of these problems. Nobody else. So
yes.
This is front number 3. Very important.
Yes.
Let me move to the last front, and then we can chat if you like. The last front is we have a war. A war is destructive, as we have witnessed. Both real wars, like we had wars of Tanzania, soldiers taking over Idi Amin, of the Bush wars. Wars are destructive. This war is already destructive to people's lives. So the fourth front is, what do you do to alleviate the social, economic consequences of what we are experiencing? This is extremely important for now and for after the war. How do we deal with the vulnerable now? Both people and companies. Because companies are also people. So companies are legal persons, as they call them. So how do we protect all our people, real people and legal people?
Do you have any idea?
So the first thing is to know that it's important. I am not seeing this in the discourse that we are having. I'm not seeing any focus on this. We must have a focus on this. How our people will survive, how our companies will survive, how our businesses will survive, now and after. And yes, there are many interventions that can and should be made. I've already talked about elsewhere what we need to do with credit, because many people depend on credit. As people, also as legal people, depend on credit. How do we manage credit in the wartime we have? We must reschedule that credit. We must restructure it. You should not, when the bombs are landing, say, pay me back. You know.
Yeah, but I hope you appreciate that government is overwhelmed. Their focus now is more on preventing, curbing the spread, and the rest can come later.
You see, as I told you, it starts with command and control. Command and control must look at the whole array of the fronts that are challenging it. If you have 4 fronts, you can't say, I'm overwhelmed, I will only just deal with this one. The others will overwhelm you. You must deploy your abilities, if not in the same, in an equal, reciprocative way to the threats that are there, but to make sure that as you deal with this, you are not overwhelmed by this.
Is your strategy in sync with what President Museveni said yesterday, that he's going to use the NRA Bush War strategy?
Well, I have not heard what he means by that strategy. You know, I am telling you what the strategy should be. If he has any, I haven't heard it. The only thing he has been talking about is the other front of the spread. That is the only thing I have heard him repeat, what everybody in the world is talking about, limiting the spread. Which, as I have said, is very important. But it's not the only front. We must deal with the whole range of all these things. Some of the things, of course, and this is where I totally, oppose those who say politics. A lot of the things we are going to suffer from is thanks to the mismanagement by the NRM junta of the last 30 years. No doubt. There is absolutely no doubt. As I told you, if you don't sweat,
You bleed.
you bleed. So we shall bleed, whether through corona. In fact, even without corona, we have been bleeding from cancer, from diarrheal diseases. You have outbreaks of cholera all over the place. We have been bleeding, and we will continue to bleed until we get our act together.
Yeah,
but for the time,
you would give it to the state in managing outbreaks. Ebola, for instance.
as I have said, I have the utmost respect for our professionals who do their utmost in the worst kind of circumstances they find themselves in. The overall respect, the overall holding in awe I have is to God. I think God has been keeping his hand over us. I have told you what we need to do that we have not done.
As we get out of here, do you see any silver lining coming with this outbreak, this pandemic that is caused?
Oh yes, great. First of all, we are now talking about this. And we are talking possibly when people may listen. Because when people are not having trouble, those people always talk, Now possibly they will listen. But secondly, you see, this has been an equalizer. All those fellows who have been running to Europe for treatment, to South Africa, to India, they have now to run to Chirudu, to Kampala Hospital, they are going to face the poorly motivated doctors of Uganda. You remember Mr. Museveni said he cannot have treatment here. He doesn't trust our doctors. So you see, let me end by saying this. How an epidemic like this is managed, how well it is managed, depends on three vital things.
Yes, as we wind up, yes.
The first one is governance. How well the country is governed, which translates into all those different things I talked about. The second is the health care system. The third is social capital. Social capital is, a lot of things together. It includes, for example, how citizens trust those in authority. Some people, you saw people who are not following what was said. The reason people will not pay attention to what you are saying is, do they really trust you? Do they believe in what you are saying? Are you believable? Do people participate? Is there a system that involves everybody? Do we feel together? People talk about patriotism, but patriotism is something, alien. The whole thing is, do we have a sense of belonging? Do we have a sense of belonging to the same country? Do we participate in what goes on in this country? What are our values? What kind of citizen empowerment do we have? All these add up into social capital. In our situation, governance, you can give governance marks, you can give healthcare marks, you can give the social capital marks. The people out there do that, you will know where we are. This is not for me.
With the country in a crisis, final as we get out. In South Africa, I saw Julius Malema standing alongside Cyril Ramaphosa. It was so beautiful. Would you stand with the president
you see,
to rally
again, you compare uncomparable things. South Africa is a democracy. They hold free and fair elections. They have parliamentary democracy. So the one who is not in government can expect soon to defeat the other one and be in the government and so on. That's not what we have here. What we have, whether you like it or not, is a military dictatorship. That's why no leader in Uganda has ever left power peacefully. We are talking about different things. Ramaphosa came in office not through war, but through political means. He replaced Zuma. Zuma had come into office through political means. Zuma replaced Mbeki. Mbeki had come into office through political means. Mbeki replaced Mandela. You know, they have a democratic process. We don't here. So, but it would be good, as I pointed out, in command and control, to have all...
You would get on board.
To get all people to participate. It would be good, as I talked about, not only those in government, but private sector, civil society, to work together. But that is, in concluding, there is no reason to be pessimistic in the current situation. I don't think that coronavirus is going to wipe us out. But there are many other things that can wipe us out. I think the critical thing is to focus on what is important in our country.
Colonel Besigye, thank you very much for sharing your medical expertise with us. What a very rich perspective on the COVID pandemic as it continues to shake the world. How prepared Uganda is and what can be done should be a discussion that continues. But well, for now, as Next Media, we have thought out something very prudent during such times, and it's about partnering with the health ministry to see that together we fight against coronavirus. And this morning, we're unveiling this partnership and what is embedded in it. Desire Derek Ford Mugumisa will take charge from me from Studio 6. A very good morning, Dr. Desire now.